Hi, church. I'm so happy to get to be with you, even if it's just through this video. My hope is that in sharing the things that God is teaching me and the way that He's encouraging me, that it would also be an encouragement to you in these really difficult times that we're in. One thing that I've been doing during this time at home is reading Romans 8, and traditionally I read out of the ESV, but I've been kind of mixing it up and also reading out of the Message, which has just been kind of a new way of reading scripture, and has been really enjoyable for me in the season. In the moments where it's felt really hard to read, it's made it a little bit easier. And so I want to read just a couple verses to you out of Romans 8 in hopes that it will be an encouragement to you. So I'm going to read Romans 8 starting in verse 22. It says, "All around us we observe a pregnant creation. The difficult times of pain throughout the world are simply birth pains, but it's not only around us, it's within us. The Spirit of God is arousing us within. We are also feeling the birth pains. These sterile and barren bodies of ours are yearning for full deliverance. That is why waiting does not diminish us any more than waiting diminishes a pregnant mother. We are enlarged in the waiting. We, of course, don't see what is enlarging us, but the longer we wait, the larger we become and the more joyful our expectancy. Meanwhile, the moment we get tired in the waiting, God's Spirit is right alongside, helping us along. If we don't know how or what to pray, it doesn't matter. He does our praying in and for us, making prayer out of our wordless sighs, our aching groans. He knows us far better than we know ourselves, knows our birth or our pregnant condition, and keeps us present before God. That's why we can be so sure that every detail in our lives of love for God is worked into something good. God knew what He was doing from the beginning. He decided from the onset to shape the lives of those who love Him along the same lines as the life of His Son." And then it goes on to talk about how God is continually in the process of making us like Jesus. And some of the things that have been really encouraging to me in this passage is I think that we've all experienced those painful times that Paul's talking about. That there have been moments where I've cried out in anger and frustration, begging God for this to be over. That I want to see my friends, I want to see my family, I want to worship with you. And so I think in that, what I've had to ask myself and challenge myself with is that the longer I wait, the longer that we wait to worship together again, does my expectancy grow? Because if I'm honest, my expectancy diminishes. I want to become disconnected. I sort of become apathetic, but I've been asking God to invigorate my expectancy, to be with you, to worship Him, to wait for Him to make all things new. The other part of this passage that's been really encouraging to me is this idea that when I grow tired, the Spirit is interceding on my behalf. And I love it because it insinuates that I'm going to grow tired. And I'm the type of person that when I grow tired, I believe if I can just persevere longer, that will honor God more. And what I love about this is that God knows that we're going to be tired. He knows that we're going to struggle, and that His Spirit is interceding on our behalf. And so I think in those moments where I've felt discouraged, I've also felt encouraged, that I know that the Spirit is pleading on my behalf in front of God. And then I also love just this idea that God is continually making us more like His Son. And if you read along in the passage, deeper into it, it talks about how Jesus is standing in the presence of God at this very moment, sticking up for us. And what I love about this is it's this idea that God is for us, that Jesus is for us, and that in this time, I have to remind myself, and I'm asking the Spirit to remind me, that God is truly for me. And one of the things that has drawn me to is in the beginning of this time that we've had to stay at home, there's a song that came out called "The Blessing." And what I love about this song is it's a declaration of the promises of God in the Old Testament, specifically in the book of Exodus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And these are the things that I've been praying as I've listened to the song over and over and over again. I've been praying these things over our families, our Second Mile families. And some of the things specifically that I've been praying is that the Lord would bless you and keep you, that His favor would be upon you, that His presence would go before you and behind you and beside you and all around you, and that it would be within you. And that in your weeping and in your rejoicing, that you would remember that God is for you. And as I've been praying those things over our families, as I've been declaring them over our families, I have sensed the Spirit interceding on my behalf those same prayers, that I would remember, and that I would feel blessed and kept by God, that I would feel his favor upon me, that I would feel his presence within me, that I would sense that his presence is going before me. And then in those moments of my weeping and in those moments of my rejoicing, that I would remember that God is for me. And I love that even in those moments where we maybe can't pray those things for ourselves, that we can pray those things over other people. And in those moments, God, the Spirit of God, is interceding on our behalf, those very same promises. And so I hope that encourages you. What I want to leave you with is this belief and this promise that we can hold on to, that God is truly for us, that when we don't understand it and it feels hard and difficult, that we can truly hold on to this belief that God is for us. And so I hope that you're encouraged by that. I'm praying those things for our church. I'm praying those things for our families, for our kids, that we would believe that God is for us.